it's turn 17 and they don't have and they don't have their first city yet, they're pretty much out of the game at this point. So, next pantheon has been founded. Goddess of Protection. Not bad. Not terrible. Not one I would go for, but it's a valid choice, I suppose. Yeah. Edinburgh is really not in a great spot. I mean, what will production focus do for me? It'll give me more production. That'll get the granny finished much sooner. But, I don't know. Well, much sooner meaning in one turn sooner. That's not really great. I'll just keep it on default focus. Yeah. We don't have great food capabilities in Edinburgh. That's concerning. We do have a mountain though, so we'll be able to build things like observatories and stuff. And that's really good to have the capability to build in your capital. That can really help you in science. Okay, so it looks like one of the 4 civilizations that hadn't founded a city yet has now founded a city. So, good for them, good for them. And you know what, I'm happy to see that too. I don't want to see a game where a lot of the civilizations that should be in play aren't in play just because they spawn too close to a city-state or something. That would be very unfortunate. So one nice thing about being here on this island with pretty much just me and Elizabeth is we really won't have to worry much about barbarians at all. We're pretty much going to isolate it. I mean, we might be somewhat vulnerable to, say, pirates, but we should be fine as far as normal barbarian attacks go, which will be great because while people like, say, Russia or China are going to deal, or the Shoshone, or a lot of other civilizations are going to be dealing with barbarians, maybe even having to just having barbarians be like beating them up and stuff, like severely damaging their civilization. Elizabeth and I will be sitting right here on this island, not having to worry about them at all. Which that'll deny our military some experience and could deny us some gold, but I think in the long run, the minimal threat of barbarian attacks is definitely going to be an overall plus. Now, I haven't decided what victory I want to go for yet. I can tell immediately that domination is going to be impossible. Diplomatic and culture are most likely improbable. So that pretty much leaves us with science or time. So hopefully I can win one of those two. World's busiest people. How are we? I must have passed us. Number 23. Right in the middle of the pack. That's not awful. Could be better. Could be worse. So we'll actually research writing 2 turns before we finish the granary, but I think I'll finish the granary before I start building a library, just because, like, food to me is going to be getting a lot of food now and having that running. Let's wait until we both have writing, right? She must not have writing yet. Let's look at those demographics, though. We're 5th in literacy. That's not bad. Of course, the average is 0, so that probably just means we're one of... Okay, only 4 civilizations have researched writing yet, then. Okay. Our value is 0. The average is 0. Got it.
He who destroys a good book kills reason itself.
Okay, plus 1. We got our library, and there we can establish embassies. So we're 4th in literacy. So that's not bad. Although that probably just means every other civilization hasn't discovered writing yet. So yeah. So I have writing. Now then. We can't build a watermill. Mining could be important to us. The Temple of Artemis, that would not be bad to get. Fishing boats even might actually be more important. I don't know. We'll go towards bronze working. That ought to be a good direction to be heading. A 3rd pantheon. An unknown civilization has started worshipping a pantheon of gods. They have chosen the beliefs goddess of the hunt. Okay. Not bad. Now, of course, it's a bit concerning that Elizabeth has twice the amount of population in London as we have in Edinburgh. Of course, London is in a much better position to get food than Edinburgh is. So we'll keep that in mind. 4th pantheon. Oral tradition. So far, no one I know has founded a pantheon. Other than myself, of course. But this granary should definitely help the food situation. Alright. We need a library. That is a must. And we'll be getting more people, so hopefully that can help with the workforce. We may consider actually going down to get sailing before mathematics and all of this stuff. If only because, like, we'll get fishing boats. And those will be great for obtaining the whales. Not to mention, triremes are going to be, could potentially be valuable in an assault on London, considering how it is a coastal city. And if Elizabeth tries anything navally, we definitely do want to be prepared. Like, as the Celts here on this island, we will need just a generally strong fleet to be able to defend ourselves from people like the Swedish or the Dutch or even the French or Spanish. Otherwise, we're just kinda... It's one of the things about being a coastal city, it's a blessing and a curse, especially if it's your capital that's coastal, because you have access to the waters. But if you don't use that access, you could potentially be just steamrolled. Neglecting the Navy is an awful thing to do, and anyone who does that is and has a coastal capital is probably going to be like taken out of the game. Okay, so we only have one civilization that has yet to found a city now, so that's good. I wonder who that one civilization is, though. But unfortunately, those 4 that founded a city super late in the game are, like I said earlier, probably pretty much out of the game. And it's standard, so it's not quite as bad if they had been found to get this turn on, say, quick. But still, getting your city out 20 or 30 turns late, That's going to have huge ripple effects that are going to be felt all the way into the modern eras. So, yeah, right now we're kind of just clicking next turn a bunch. That's just because, and early on standard time, I guess, it's just standard game pace. It just goes slowly. You have a lot of turns, especially when you aren't out exploring, which we aren't doing much of because of our
Meek shall inherit the earth, but not its mineral rights.
because of the fact that we're just on an island, and at that an island that I already know the geography of. It, there's really not too much to be doing right now, other than planning. Another pantheon founded. God King. That's a pretty good one. I wonder if anyone's going to claim northern France up here. Because, I mean, if no one claims it, then later on in the game, once we have optics, Elizabeth or I could send a settler down there and just claim northern France as our own, without even having to really fight for it. Policy time, alright. I know, liberty and tradition, they're both good. They're really good. And I feel like liberty might be better for me in the long run. But I feel like tradition will give us way more. It will just be so much better for us, especially it just immediately. And yeah, the thing is, I want to aspire to by mid game have a large reaching empire. But for this early game, that's not going to happen for quite a while. And I feel like strengthening my capital, which is pretty much all I'm going to have until I take over London, is probably the smarter thing to do right now. Okay, what does this button do? Oh. Whatever, okay, cool. So, let's continue. As far as demographics go, 12th in population, that's not bad, that's not bad. I was thinking we're probably worse than that. 18th in crop yield, that's still in the top half. 24th in manufactured goods, that's about average. GNP at 30, that's below average. Land at 16, that's a bit above average. Soldiers at 29, below average. Approval 43rd, like literally the worst, but that doesn't matter. 12th in literacy, so fairly good. Okay. And hopefully literacy will shoot up once we finish this library. Why are we stagnating? Are we being... Yeah, we're being blockaded. Okay, sailing is next. Just so we can keep these barbarian galleys in check. Okay, we're not blockaded anymore. Good. Optics could be really good for us, actually. +1 food from coasted ocean tiles, +1 production. A lighthouse would be very beneficial to us, actually, now that I think about it. We may go down towards optics next. I know I said I wanted to go for mathematics, but we have time for that. But we need a strong city before we can have a strong army. And I think a lighthouse could do wonders for Edinburgh. Because, I mean, where else are we going to get our food? From the hills? I don't think so. Also, so on the religion front, we're not quite halfway. We're about, over a third of the way towards getting a religion. New pantheon founded, by the way. Stone circles. Edinburgh, claim the lands. Come on. Land is super important. Where am I going to store all of my armies if London blocks me off? I have to declare war just so I can have space. Oh, speaking of which, let's get an embassy with Elizabeth. Now that we have mutual writing. Okay, that's good. Unfortunately, in terms of score, we're only above the 4 players that founded their cities late, or still haven't founded their city. Unmatched player. So yeah. No wonders have been built yet. But probably a lot of our score our low score probably has a lot to do with the fact that there just simply aren't any ruins here. And Edinburgh isn't really in the best position for early growth. Religious idols. +1 culture and faith from each gold and silver. Okay. So far I'm not overly concerned about getting a religion. Good, our science has just been greatly increased. Our scientific capacity. We could go for the Great Library. I mean, we don't really have much better to be working on. Although worker would be really good. We'll go for a worker. What does our special building replace? Does it replace the temple? No. Doesn't replace the temple. I'm actually not certain what it replaces. I presume it's probably fairly early game. I'm combing the research tree here and I don't see it. Huh. We can look it up in the Civilopedia. Civilizations. Civilizations and leaders. The Celts. Is that T for the... No, the Celts. Renaissance era building, unique to the Celts. Replaces the Opera House. Okay. Cool. So we're actually losing gold per turn now.
With a spear 11 cubits long in his hand, the bronze point gleamed in front of him and was fastened to the shaft of the spear by a ring of gold.
Cool. Okay. So, next tech, I want sailing. And I want sailing to optics, and then we'll go for mathematics. I feel like optics and the lighthouse will greatly enhance our city. Also, we are lucky enough to have iron within the borders of Edinburgh. Good, good. So that actually means it may actually be worthwhile to go after ironworking eventually. Maybe after mathematics.